I'm here with Keleas.com and I'm going to show you how to make a really loopy, kind of that wispy looking fun bow. It is going to be used in one of our wreath projects we're making. I've got 3 ribbons here we're going to use today, and they are all more narrow. They're 1.5 inches wide, and I'm going to take and mix these to make just a really fun combo. The design we're going for is very natural and rustic, cottagey feel, and that's why we have these ribbons picked out. Now we've got one here with a nice, like, it's got a rough texture, and this one is flat, but it's got on that burlap background with this little bit of zigzag rickrack. It gives it that kind of that country feel, really classic. And then one of my favorite ribbons to use is a window pane, and this is a really pretty fuzzy window pane that we can use at Christmas time because it's got this neat texture. And I'm going to layer that in just sheerly for the texture and the depth and the drama because it's a really dark red. Let's start off with our stripe in the background. Load up your Easy Bow Maker, and if you don't have an Easy Bow Maker, we've got a link for you to grab one. We're going to do these tails at 8 inches. So I'm going to come in at 8 inches, and I'm just going to leave that tail cut at an angle. That's fine right there. And have that kind of tail go up. Now, we're going to have all these loops very loopy. So keep a nice curve to it out at 6 inches, and then I'm going to twist. Everybody stay in 6 right now. 6 inches, twist, right hand goes forward, left hand goes back, and we're gonna keep doing that. Let's do 3. We're gonna do 3 of the stripe, because this gives us this really, really neat texture to our bow. So I've got 2 on that side, now I'm starting my 3rd go round, and everybody's about 6 inches, and I'll measure it up, and now I'm gonna have this tail kind of come down at 8 and just cut that at an angle. Now I'm going to take and fluff all these out. Look at that, and tails up and tails down. I love, love, love what we got going. So a great base to start this bow. Pop that off, and now we're going to come in with our window pane. And this window pane is lightly wired, so it doesn't have like a really thick wire. It gives you that floppy look, which is super fun to put in here. So I'm going to put this tail in right at the top. And you can see how this is picking up this really, really cute deep red. And we're going to put these in at 6 inches. So anytime you want to use a floppy ribbon, you still can. You just pop it in on your layers. So I put it on top of a more dense layer. So I'm going to bring this in, and it can lay right on top of it. And now I'm going to put this right here and cut that tail to go there. Okay, so I've got the stripe, and then I've got the red. Now, bring in your rickrack. We're going to put that one in next, and this gives it that country feel. Now I'm going to lay this tail the opposite way. So we're going to measure out 8 inches, and I'm going to cut this opposite, so this away. Almost cut that wrong. Just when I'm trying to get those rights and lefts straight, you know, to get you. It took me most of my life to figure that out. Now I cut the angles wrong. Now we're going to come in with, I think we should go with 3 loops again. This is just a fun, whimsical bow. So let's do it. Let's stack up these layers. So I've got 1 on each side. I'm holding it in the center as I get higher here on my design. And I kind of came in a little bit. I'm at about 5.5 now as far as the loop length. Okay? I'm going to bring this in. If you love making bows like this and you want to learn how to add these things and create more designs like this, we would love to have you in design school, where I teach bow making, wreath making, swag making, all things floral design, arrangements, all of that every week. Come and join us in design school. If you are a design school member and you are watching this, you know, let people know what you think about class and what are some of your favorite things you enjoy when we're all together learning. Now bring your next layer back. Guess what? One of my biggest tips is you bring the ribbon from the back to the front, and we let this be really super loopy and fun. So I'm going to put this tail on this side, and now I'm going to make it a little shorter, so it'll be about 6 inches on this tail, because I want it just to kind of pop towards the center. And now we're going to put our last little pop in about 5 inches and twist. And this is like the ultimate funky bow, where we layered up a bunch of layers. You see how we got these pegs so far apart because we've got so many loops. Those of you who are OGs, you are Bloom Room OGs. You know this is 3, 2, 2, 1. That's the layers of the bow. 3 loops, then 2, then 3, and then 1. So 3, 2, 3, 1. All right, now I'm going to trim this off. My cute little tail's going. Oh my gosh, there was a little seam in the ribbon, and how perfect. It worked out perfect. I love when that happens. Sometimes that does not happen, but today it did. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take my cable tie. I like to use cable ties to hold the centers of these bows really tight. So run that right beside the ribbons. Put a finger on top and gently pull this up. All right, get some nice pressure in there. Okay, now we're not done. You have to pull your bow maker aside, and you got to get to fluffing. So flip this around. Hold it tight in the center without doing anything else yet. Just holding it with your finger, and we're going to shape this bow on out into beauty. Beauty goodness. Look how pretty. And I'm going to shape her out. And so I start layering up the layers where I want to do. You see all the dimension? That is critical in bow making, wreath design, all of that. I'm always just drilling that into my students, that it literally, that is where your money stands when you have dimension. And that's what makes your work look so much prettier. Isn't that a gorgeous bow? Y'all, it is. It wins. Winner, winner. Okay, flip it over. Add your wire in the back. We're going to put a cable tie, because we are going to use a cable tie on our wreath, and get that tight. So pull that really tight. Now trim that little pokey part off. I'm going to trim that off and flip it over. That's my happy to see you cable tie. Boom, he's coming off. I like to come through the middle with a little bit of, you know, depending if you want the middle to show. If you don't want it to show, you could just leave that green cable tie we use, that'd be fine. But I always like to bring a little bit of kind of what I would call the contrasting ribbon. The ribbon in here that sets the patterns apart is this red. So that's a great one to use through the middle. It's very inexpensive. And when you do fold it, it gives us this super cool texture. It's got all this little, you know, like a, I don't know, like some kind of cool bumpy yarn, you know, feel. I love that. That looks really cool in the middle. So we're going to put a couple knots in here. And once again, adding texture to your bows with the depth and dimension, it's all going to be a winner. And you are going to have a killer bow just like this. It looks amazing. And we're going to be working in a red, green, and white color palette. And you could see the natural influences are just a perfect mix to go with our grapevine base. We've got our bow that we're going to be using on this design. So if you haven't seen our bow video and would like that, it'll be in the supply list. You can also ask for it here. We'll happy provide you with a video of how to make the bow as well. Let's talk about the supplies for this. There's a supply list attached. We're going to be using a little bit of the pine, some of these adorable wood bead picks that are just so festive for the season. And then one of my favorite bushes we have, which has got these killer textures. So one of the advantages of getting supplies from Keleas.com is that we've got pieces that are just kind of one and done. They make floral designing so much easier for you, and that's our motto. We want to keep it really easy so you can accomplish, you can get some wins. If you want to learn how to sell your stuff, you know we're here to support you in that journey as well. We want you to make it, ship it, sell it, do all those things. We want you to be able to do everything we're doing that you see us doing and help you to accomplish designs that really exceed your expectations, not only if you want them for yourself, but if you intend to sell them later. So this bush fits the bill. So it's a nice, kind of like a 3-in-1 combo. That's the supplies we're going to use. So let's get started. You know, a lot of times I will shoot way off this. And if you're a design school member and you're in there, let everybody know how much you enjoy design school. Please pop that in the comments. In design school, I am really focused on coming off the base a lot because we really hype up dimension. And on this design, we're going to stay a little bit tighter to the base to keep, you know, it a little bit smaller. So we're going to start with one of these bushes and preparing them. And the way I want to do that is we just take bush itself and we're going to tear the pieces off if we can, or we'll cut them if they won't tear. But if they'll come off in little sections, it really saves us a lot of time in designing. So that's another thing. That's why we want to have those kind of products available on our website. And our design school students do get discounts to everything that we have on the site. And they get even bigger discounts when they spend more money. So it's really a big advantage to being in design school. So let me cut these down. We just tore those off, and then what you want to do is cut them to where they have really neat stems here and clean them up. I'm going to do that really quickly. And we're going to start with one bush to get it prepared. Now, when I'm teaching in class, I'm always going to be talking about depth and dimension, like that's very important, but also transitions on the design. So today when we're making this one, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that too, so you can get familiar with what's going on. Okay, oh my gosh, these pine cones are so cute. I love the little pine cones. Once we've identified where we want our design to go, and on this one I'm going to stay on the left side. We're going to start to put a little glue on these and start to get our base prepped. And we're going to call that, basically in class, I'm going to talk about positioning and the principles behind it. So today we're going to be putting these in a similar manner, where we start to have really good placement and we separate them and start to get some good coverage. And these have all this fun texture going on in these twigs, so oh my gosh, we want to play with that. So I'm going to go up here, and this is what we call working above the transition, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm working above the transition. And this will be a C-shaped design, one of my favorites, one of my best sellers. So the top part's in, let's work on the bottom part. These twigs are killer because we can come in and just do whatever we want with those. So I'm going to come now below the transition and start to work on the bottom, popping these in right here. And just pressing those right in where I want them to go. Oh my gosh, look at the pine cones there. Super cute. I've got some pine cones still over here from our other supplies, but we'll use those in a minute. Let me tear off a few more pieces of our second bush. We may not need all of this, but I still think you're gonna need 2 bushes. But it's kind of crazy when you work with supplies that are this level of quality. You don't have to sit there and cut and layer and pick and do all those things because it's already done for you. The picks are made, they're prepared on the bush, and all you gotta do is break that bush apart, which makes it nice. So up here, I've got that long one. I'm gonna put that same long piece that was at the top here at the bottom. So right here coming at the bottom is this one. I'm gonna bring it in. And I am kind of coming off the base a little. Not quite as far as we do with our really dramatic pieces that I teach in class, but a little bit, okay? And let's come off with one shorter one right here. So once we have our section done above where the bow is going to go and then below, then we know we're ready to rock and roll with our next section. Okay, looking good. Our focal point are these adorable wood bead picks. They are really where we're getting the pizzazz from. And I would like to just use these full so we don't have to cut them. Y'all, this wreath we're making now would be just a perfect Etsy shop filler. You can really stock your shop and you can rock and roll. So if we put this one in here, oh my gosh, you see the texture, how cute that is with the berries? I love that. So let's trim these both down. Let's just do like a 2-inch cut on them. When I say that, I'm talking about trimming the stem right here to 2 inches, okay? So if you're new, welcome. Please introduce yourself in the comments, say hello. We're so glad you are here. And let us know you're now a Blue Merino, and we appreciate you being part of our family. It's very important to me to continue passing on the art of creating and supporting other creatives just like you. And we can all do that when we're a community and we work together. So hold this just like this, and we're going to swirl this in our electric skillet. If you're unfamiliar with what that is, this is a little electric skillet, and it's actually made for cooking, but we're using that to hold hot glue. So when I put my hot glue in it, I just really have to watch the temperature and make sure I supervise it just like if I were cooking. But the cool thing is, it is so nice to keep my glue hot, and I never have to pull any triggers. I'm big on that. When I was younger, I had a couple of wrist surgeries from overcrafting. I was playing sports too, so I had 2 things going on, but I also was making a whole ton of angels and cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting. And then when one hand got messed up, I started cutting with the other hand. So what I learned is it's better to do motions like this where you're not pulling a trigger and you can use your whole arm to do it. So that's when I switched to using like things like the electric skillet instead of just a glue gun. So you see the berries went above and they went below. Y'all, oh my gosh, this is so pretty. This is so pretty. So simple, but so pretty. So I think we're going to save these for another project because those are more than what we need. And what we're going to switch to is we're going to switch to this gorgeous pine, and it's going to layer on the foreground. So when you have a wreath, you have the background, you have the middle ground, and then you have the foreground. And I like to really play with your eye. That way, you know, you can use less supplies and you can come out with pieces that are just as gorgeous with less supplies, but look clean and neat And when you do that, you'll be shocked at the demand for your product. Okay, I'm gonna pop this a little bit in front, but kind of sideways to these berries. And we're gonna mix in this pine. Now what we did is we just created some depth because we've got some pine below the berries and some behind. Okay, there's a mix. So play with that when you're putting things in. They don't always have to go in the foreground. Some can go in the middle, all right? So, oh my gosh, you see the difference? You see how that looked great before, but now, boom, the quality, the value just popped up another level. All right, let's put the bottom piece on. Can you believe how quickly this is coming together? This is so fun. Now, every time you get a pick or a spray, whether you get it from Keleas.com or you buy it from somewhere else, you've got to fluff it. You've got to maneuver it. And if you can't fluff it, it's because you're buying stuff from people who carry cheaper knockoffs, and you need to get better quality product where it has those wires and it's got a stronger support in it, because, hey, that's what's going to make your work stand out, all right? And even if it's going on your own door, you want it to look really nice, and you know, the next level. You like to craft, but you don't just, you know, you're not a good dollar store crafter. You are a next level crafter, and you want to always make it look the next level. Look at this. This is next level. That is adorable. Okay, I've got my pine cones still. We're not forgetting about the pine cones. Let's get that bow in, because that's really, you're going to see this cottage country style come full force. Are you ready? I'm ready. It has a cable tie. We're going to be tying it around, and I don't like to send those all the way to the back. I kind of just send them through one little section and bring it around. So let me do that. It's a little tricky. Maybe you can see here. See, I really don't want it showing all the way through the back, so I just take a little section, especially on the side. I don't want to see it. Okay, so we kind of hide it in there. See it coming through? Now I'm going to grab the end of the cable tie. And you might consider 12-inch cable ties for the backs of your bows. They're just a little easier to work with. When we were doing really high production on Etsy, and that's all I did before I started teaching, was selling thousands of wreaths every year, hundreds every month. What I would do is save ourselves some time by getting that longer cable tie in the back. Look how cute this is! Now this is a really full funky bow, so what you've got to do is get in here and spread it out and make, oh my gosh, so cute. It looks so fresh, so cottagey, so really cute. Now take your pine cones. That's going to be our last little touch, and we're going to want to use those kind of tucked in here to the bow for a little bit of fun. And they're each on their own little stems, so take and get them in here, get them in the electric skillet, and let's just put one on the bottom of the bow here, right down. Oh, that's so cute. And one right above. This is such a fun wreath to make, and you can see it's come together really quickly. I hope you go over to Keleas.com. Please come over and check out what we've got for you, what's new in the video library, and make sure you're on our text list. If you haven't gotten a spot yet, send us a text at 832-734-5201, or go to textkelea.com. Send us the word VIP. We'll put you on the list, and whenever we're doing another project, I will send you a text, and you won't miss